Have you ever found yourself obsessing over someone, unable to stop thinking about them no matter how hard you try? Whether it's a fleeting crush, an unresolved relationship, or even a passing acquaintance, there's often a deeper psychological reason behind it. Carl Jung, one of the most influential psychologists of the 20th century, offers us powerful insights into why certain people seem to haunt our minds. Today, we're diving deep into Jungian psychology to explore why we can't let go of certain people and how this obsession might be guiding us towards self-discovery. Chapter 1. The Nature of Projection. At the heart of Carl Jung's work lies the concept of projection. In simple terms, projection is a psychological process where we attribute parts of our unconscious mind to other people. These are often aspects of ourselves that we're not fully aware of or that we've repressed, either because we rejected them or because they didn't fit with how we want to view ourselves. Instead of recognizing these traits within us, we place them onto others. Jung himself described projection as the expulsion of a subjective content into an object. In other words, we're seeing parts of ourselves that we're not fully conscious of in the people around us. But what does that really mean in the context of obsession? When someone occupies your thoughts to an overwhelming degree, it's likely that you're projecting an aspect of your psyche onto them, something you haven't fully recognized or accepted. This could be a trait you desire, such as confidence, creativity, or emotional depth. Alternatively, it might be an unresolved wound or an unmet need calling for your attention. Let's say you're fixated on someone who's confident, outgoing, and socially magnetic. Why them? It might be because you're projecting your own suppressed desires for confidence or social ease onto them. In fact, the person you're obsessed with could be a mirror reflecting the parts of yourself you wish to develop or embrace. For example, imagine someone who's drawn to a carefree, adventurous person. In reality, they may be longing to reconnect with their own sense of spontaneity and freedom, qualities they may have repressed in favor of routine or practicality. The obsession isn't about the other person. It's about the unconscious need for self-expression, liberation, and a deeper connection with their own desires. This process, though initially confusing or painful, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a wake-up call from your unconscious, urging you to reconnect with the hidden parts of yourself that need your attention and care. By recognizing that you are projecting onto someone, you have the opportunity to reflect on what the person represents within your own psyche. This realization can be a powerful step toward greater self-awareness. Another example could involve someone who is fixated on a person who is successful in their career. The person obsessing might secretly desire the same level of success, but they might have insecurities or self-doubt that prevent them from pursuing their own ambitions. This kind of fixation could be a reflection of the suppressed parts of themselves that feel unaccomplished, and the obsession is a sign that they need to examine and confront those insecurities in order to move forward. Chapter 2. The Anima and Animus, Archetypal Forces Within. Jung's theory doesn't stop with projection. He also introduced the idea of the Anima and Animus, which are archetypes representing the unconscious, opposite-sex aspects of our psyche. For men, the Anima is the feminine side of their personality, and for women, the Animus represents the masculine side. These archetypes are shaped by personal experiences, cultural influences, and even ancestral memories, and they have a profound influence on our relationships and emotional lives. Understanding the Anima and Animus can shed light on why we are drawn to certain people in our lives and why certain relationships feel so compelling. When you meet someone who seems to embody the qualities of your Anima or Animus, it can feel as if they hold the key to your very soul. The attraction can feel almost mystical, as though they reflect something essential about who you are or who you're meant to become. For instance, a man might find himself drawn to a woman who exudes qualities of emotional depth, intuition, and nurturing energy. These traits may reflect his own unconscious Anima, aspects of his personality that he may have repressed or neglected in favor of more rational qualities. Similarly, a woman might be captivated by a man who displays assertiveness, logical thinking, and strength, embodying the qualities of her Animus that she is learning to integrate. This attraction is often stronger than just a passing interest. It can feel like the person embodies everything you've been missing in your life, a missing puzzle piece, a reflection of your own inner world. These kinds of relationships, while deeply compelling, are often catalysts for transformation. The Anima and Animus offer us an opportunity to integrate these parts of ourselves that we may have neglected or misunderstood. But why does this attraction sometimes feel so overwhelming or faded? It's because these encounters are designed to stir up unconscious material within us. The Anima and Animus aren't just aspects of the psyche that appear in romantic relationships. They can manifest in friendships, mentors, and even in the people we admire from afar. When we meet someone who mirrors these unconscious qualities, we're often faced with the task of acknowledging and integrating them into our own personality. For example, a woman who has repressed her strength, assertiveness, or independence may find herself drawn to a man who embodies these qualities. This attraction can be unsettling, as it challenges her to acknowledge these traits within herself. But rather than seeing this attraction as purely romantic, it can be viewed as a necessary part of her own growth and individuation process. The Anima and Animus are not only about romantic attraction, but also about psychological and emotional growth. These encounters offer us an opportunity to reconnect with aspects of our unconsciousness that are necessary for us to become more whole, balanced, and authentic. Chapter 3, Limerence, Obsession Beyond Romance. One of the most intriguing psychological experiences tied to obsession is limerence. Coined by psychologist Dorothy Tenov, limerence refers to a state of obsessive infatuation, often described as a kind of love addiction. People in a state of limerence experience persistent, intrusive thoughts about the object of their affection, intense emotional dependency on their responses, and often idealized fantasy about who the person truly is. It's a roller coaster of emotions, the highs of exhilaration and the lows of disappointment, and it can feel all-consuming. Limerence can also feel like an obsession. The thoughts about the person become intrusive and uncontrollable. You start thinking about them constantly, imagining scenarios in which they express affection for you, and fantasizing about a life together. These emotions can be overwhelming and may interfere with your daily life, but the intensity of these feelings often make them feel exhilarating, even when they cause pain. From a Jungian perspective, limerence is not just a case of falling in love, it's a reflection of unacknowledged needs and repressed desires. The person you're obsessed with isn't just the object of your affection, they're a symbol of something deeper within you that remains unfulfilled. Imagine someone fixated on a person who's free-spirited, adventurous, or emotionally expressive. Their obsession could be a reflection of their own suppressed desires for freedom, creativity, or emotional depth. Maybe they've been feeling trapped in a routine or have ignored their own emotional needs for too long. This intense, obsessive infatuation could also be a reaction to unmet emotional needs from childhood or unresolved attachment issues. If you were never allowed to express your desires or emotions as a child, you may find yourself projecting those unmet needs onto someone else as an adult. The person you're obsessed with might represent the nurturing, attention, or affection you've been craving for years, and the obsession is your unconscious mind's way of trying to fill that void. In cases like this, limerence isn't just about the other person, it's about your unconscious mind trying to bring attention to the parts of yourself that you've neglected. Instead of viewing it purely as an unhealthy fixation, consider limerence an opportunity for self-discovery. It's an invitation to explore what's missing in your life and what part of you is calling for expression. Chapter 4, Synchronicity, Meaning and Coincidences. Jung was also fascinated by the idea of synchronicity, which refers to meaningful coincidences that are not causally related but seem to have a deeper connection. If you find yourself consumed with thoughts about someone, you might start noticing strange events or coincidences. Perhaps their name keeps popping up, or a song that reminds you of them plays just when you need it. These coincidences may seem random, but Jung believed that they could be meaningful signs from your unconscious. They're not simply chance occurrences. They're part of a larger, interconnected process guiding you toward greater self-awareness and integration. When you experience these synchronistic moments, take a step back and ask, what is my unconscious trying to communicate with me? Instead of focusing solely on the person, pay attention to the symbolic meaning of the presence in your life. These synchronicities can be subtle clues, leading you toward important truths about yourself and your emotional journey. Synchronicity can also help us notice the deeper patterns in our lives. Sometimes when we're obsessing over someone, we can start seeing patterns of their presence everywhere. Their name shows up in conversations, songs, or movies remind us of them, or we encounter people who have similar qualities to them. These events aren't simply random. They might be a way for your unconscious to guide you toward a new awareness or realization about the nature of your obsession. Chapter 5, Individuation, The Path to Wholeness. Ultimately, the goal of psychological development in Jungian terms is individuation. This is the process of integrating both the conscious and unconscious aspects of the self to become a more whole and authentic individual. The people who occupy your thoughts so persistently may not just be random distractions, they could be crucial guides on your path to self-knowledge and transformation. Individuation isn't about erasing obsessive thoughts. Instead, it's about understanding and integrating them. When you find yourself obsessed with someone, rather than just trying to push those thoughts aside, ask yourself, what part of me is being called to the surface? What does this obsession reveal about my unmet needs or unexpressed desires? This journey of self-discovery could involve practices like journaling, therapy, mindfulness, or dream analysis. By diving deeper into these unconscious calls, you can begin to heal emotional wounds, express creative urges, and become more whole as a person. Chapter 6, The Mirror of the Unconscious. The people we can't stop thinking about are not random figures in our lives. According to Jung, they are mirrors of our unconscious, reflecting aspects of ourselves that we have yet to integrate, acknowledge, or accept. Whether through projection, the Anima and Animus, Limerence, or synchronicity. These fixations offer profound opportunities for personal growth and self-discovery. So, the next time you find yourself obsessing over someone, don't just ask, why can't I stop thinking about them? Instead, ask yourself, what are they showing me about myself? What hidden parts of me are being brought to the surface through this fixation? By shifting your perspective, you can transform these obsessive thoughts into powerful tools for self-awareness, emotional growth, and inner transformation. Ultimately, the people who cross our minds most often may not just be reminders of the past. They may be guiding us on our journey back to ourselves, helping us become more whole, integrated, and authentic.